a TD or a senator, a TD mainly, Ceacht the Dála. The words are very specific. And again, I'm no Gaeilgeoir linguist, but Ceacht the Dála means a messenger to the Parliament. A messenger on behalf of the people to the Parliament. It's not a messenger of the Parliament and the extended machinery of state to the people. But that is what we have allowed it become, because we have allowed our system be manipulated and hijacked by the professionals. And we, as an electorate, as a populace, we have allowed our expression of our democracy to be ticking a box once every 5 years. Now, I know I'm preaching to the converted here this evening in that I presume the vast majority of you, by your very presence here, are active members of society. But we have to get far more people active within our society, because until that happens, our democracy, as we have it at present, will continue to fester and rot. And our children and our grandchildren will be picking up a much bigger tab than they are as we speak right now. Sorry for going over time. Thank you very much.
Cheapest Jim, the bank, the rugby field, the Shannon, the Dole. You've left quite a trail of destruction on your way. We're going to open up the conversation. I see lots of people nodding around the room throughout the three talks. And I think what would be good is if we could kind of focus on the practical steps that could be taken to making our country better, fixing it. And I'm going to set the ball rolling by making the point that we are a nation of great talkers. Nobody would dispute that. And we have spent the last 26 months talking. And we've actually done nothing. And we have lots of disparate groups setting up new political organisations and political parties. And it all seems to be coming to nothing. I'd just like to ask the three of you, what do you think is the dynamic that's actually going to make a difference? What's got to happen to bring us to the point where we stop talking and we act? John, do you want to take that first?
Well, I don't see anything happening between now and next March, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we need a change of government, or we need a change of personnel to begin with, because the current government, and it's not to be, and I need to be very careful here. Transparency is a non-partisan organisation, not aligned to any one political party. I don't believe that the current group of people running the country see it in their interest to change things. I don't believe that, more generally, that those in power, whether they be in the permanent government, i.e. the civil service, or those sitting in the Oireachtas, were generally, and the Dáil more specifically, see it in their interest to change things dramatically. And I think it'll be important, whenever that election is held, that people make their voice heard and the people vote according to their consciences, not so much their sense of self-interest, which is the way in which I think we've voted for the past 10 years. I think we've voted for the party that promised lowest tax cuts, or the biggest tax cuts, for example. I don't believe we've had anything approaching a social democracy here. I think we have focused on financial gain as a measure of welfare, and I think we need to redefine prosperity as well, beyond prosperity in economic terms.
I remember in 2007, Paul Appleby, the Director of Corporate Enforcement, had asked the government to sanction the appointment of extra staff so that he could carry out the investigations, to do what it said on the tin, to do his job. And then Taoiseach said in the Dáil, Bertie Ahern said he has to wait his turn. Now that merited a paragraph or two in the papers. There was no uproar about it. So, Jane, do you think it is expecting too much that we, the people, are going to change things come the general election?
Well, I hope not. Yeah. I know that I agree with John that, yeah, we can't really have significant change until we have a new government. I think it's a pity that we have a government without a mandate that is introducing the budget and the 4-year plan, but that's, let bygones be bygones. But I think what we can do in the intervening months is all of the parties are going to be drawing up their manifestos. They're all going to be deciding what it is that they're going to promise. And I think it's up to the people to make their voices heard, to continue the talking and to say, what we want to see is real reform. We want to see this in your manifestos. We want to see a real commitment to it. We want to see that you're going to walk the walk as well as just talk the talk. We want to see that you're going to actually promise something meaningful, something that can be delivered, something that we can measure, something that we can see how far along that you're going to go. I think we can all do our best to try to talk as much as possible. Like as Jim says, the culture is us, the people who want the TDs at their loved ones' funerals. Those are Irish people. The people who want a TD or feel a need to contact a TD to fix a pothole or to fill out forms for child benefit. Those are Irish people. But I think it needs to be made clear to people. Some of my classes, I remember I was sharing with them some research I'd done into the kind of spending that ministers do once they get into office. So one of the things, for example, if you get to be Minister for Education, you spend a lot of money on the schools in your constituency. So there'd be a school in Mallow, for example, that had been falling down for 20 years with rats and so on. Only when Bat O'Keefe became Minister for Education was it fixed. The sports facilities and so on, it's the Minister for Finance. Its constituency has fantastic sports facilities, and the Minister for Arts and Sports. And some of my students were saying, well, that's great because, we can vote and then Micheál Martin will be a minister and we'll do fine. And I said, no, because actually when you measure it, you see that over a period of 10 years, Cork South Central actually ended up with slightly less than the average, even though they had a small period when a minister was there. So actually it doesn't even do anybody any favours. So I think if people start to realise that this sort of naive belief they have in ministers delivering, while they think that this is benefiting them, when you actually look at it in the round, it isn't. And you have to, I think there's a message that the papers could, hopefully carry as well to people that, we are all responsible for this. And what we demand of our legislators is what we're going to get from our legislators. I think that's a message that, it's very important is heard throughout the country. And then, as I say, that there's, proper serious demands put on all of the parties, that they have serious proposals for reform that we can see happening before the election. And then, obviously, at the time of the election, the message has to be only vote for a party that has promised reform that you are happy with, and that you're happy that they're likely to deliver it. Otherwise, there is no point.